Unfortunately, we can't use actual uranium in nuclear experiment toys. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty. Children do crave the mine. It's why Minecraft is so popular. Children, they yearn for the mines. Too bad we can't put children in the mines anymore. They're trying to craft their own. Okay, here's the thing. Like, there was a fascinating study that was actually that was done on, like, a tangential topic. But it was this idea of, like, they asked a bunch of people, do you think America would be better off if we had more manufacturing jobs here? And the answer was, like, overwhelmingly yes. Like, it was something like 80% of people were like, yes, I think America would be better if we had manufacturing jobs. And then they asked those same participants, would you encourage your child to seek a manufacturing job? And every single parent's like 32% was like, no. Like 32% of parents at that point were like, yes, I would encourage them to seek a manufacturing job. It's like, okay, cool. So you want manufacturing workers, but you don't want to do them, and you don't want your children to do them. I guess we're just fucking sending the fucking invisible force of like spirit children into the mines.
Just leave them behind and go steady in the crudo US of A.
Yes, I would, Bish. I would like to just turn a bolt and get paid. Well, here's the, because like manufacturing jobs, because like the ones they're referring to are, I think, specifically like material refinement, which are incredibly dangerous and like laborious. Like the kind of shit that we get videos like out of China of like the foundry going wrong and spilling molten metal everywhere. Like I don't, these jobs need to get done, but also like these I would argue are the jobs that we should be making like computers and shit to do. Manufacturing jobs doesn't require education, and we know what the education system is like. America has such a mixed education, because we have some of the most educated, smart people in the world, and some of the dumbest motherfuckers. America is the land of extremes, for sure. Remember, people love to tell their other kids what to do, but God forbid you do the same to their kids. You're not wrong. It's just like also fucking tiring. Exactly. We need less educated people to have the jobs. The problem is all the fucking people who are dumb as shit work middle management, and they're not going to give that up. like unironically, the people who would be the biggest benefit to society if they did, like, say if we did move towards a fucking, like, you know, a manufacturing job-based economy, are exactly the kind of people who are already in power. It's like the thing where like CEO like is the easiest thing to turn in, like, to optimize for computers, but it somehow is the biggest paying like position out there. We need less educated people to have jobs, otherwise they become homeless and like live in New York City subways. I don't necessarily think that that's intrinsically true. Because there are you know, Finland is an economy that doesn't have a there are like all of Europe has, you know, at the very least all of Western Europe is primarily driven by, you know, non-manufacturing positions. I don't necessarily see why that couldn't also extend to the States or anywhere else if we just find ways to automate the really dangerous manufacturing positions. I think the problem is that by automating them, you're creating a cost-benefit incentive to just remove the old workers without figuring out what they're supposed to do. It's like the consolidation of work into, like, you know, the joke about the immigrant who like is a job hoarder who has 300 jobs. That's like, oh, that's why Americans can't have any jobs anymore, because the one Hispanic person comes up here and does 300 jobs. In 20 years, all factories will become automated, and the countries who don't have factories will be at the mercy of those who do. Yes, but I feel like at that, like, in a structural society where, like, in that hypothetical society where every job is automated, we either move towards a socialist system of, like, universal basic income, or everyone dies. Like, either everyone's needs are prepared for, or we live in, like, a feudalist hellscape. It's the difference between Star Trek and Cyberpunk, I think, is like kind of the way to put that. Because Star Trek is what a future socialist society would look like. Cyberpunk is future capitalist. And one of them is undeniably better for everyone. These are like some of the thoughts that like go through my head when I think about, like, because I feel like every 20-something like thinks about like what they would do with society if they were given the opportunity to actually like fix it. I vote we turn the people into batteries. I think about making them into food, but I think their meat is tainted by by fentanyl. This is a joke, by the way. Yeah, I mean, people would. I do love the fact that, like, the batteries plot hole is something that was entirely made. Like, the Wachowskis originally had it written that the people were being used as, like, basically CPUs. Because, like, the frequent plot hole, everyone's like, oh, like, this is a plot hole in the original Matrix. The idea that, like, people can be used as batteries because we take way more energy to keep alive than we would produce. Okay, I took my night cough syrup. I'm gonna regret it. Oh, hey, tell the Hat Man I said hi, and he still owes me $20. That fuck. But no, so that plot hole exists exclusively because of executives. Originally, the Wachowskis wanted the humans to be used as CPUs, but the executives were like, no one's gonna understand what you mean by that, so just make them batteries, because the layperson will understand. Like, it was actually like my brother is writing like a sci-fi thing where like we had an entire conversation about like, because like the idea of it's basically there's this one of the structural points is that like basically it's like a species that is extremely like resource starved, trying its best to like make do. And you know, one of the ideas, he's like, what if they show up in the fucking human dumpster and are like, oh my god, they have carbon. Holy, look at all this fucking carbon they have just lying around. And me and my brother had a conversation. Was like, would the average person know how fucking common and prevalent carbon is, that it would be weird for like, it would be like, we would think it was strange for like a society to be excited by that prospect? Using humans as CPUs is more realistic since the human brain has a lot of brain space. My friends saw the Hat Man before. I've never dealt with any sort of like visual ephemera. Well, that's not fair. I've never dealt with like any major hallucination like that. I did have a fucking startling experience though. Where like I was driving to work, and like one of the places I have to pass by is basically this like wood in the middle of nowhere. Like it's basically like this like little like wooded nook. And I just saw a guy in like a fucking like a bowler hat just standing in the middle of this wooded area, and my fucking body shot clear through with like, it was like immediate fear response. Like, this person is not supposed to be here. I am in danger because he is here. I just drove away, but it was one of those like surreal. It's like, oh wait, this is the horror game experience. It was unironically, it was like, this is something that you fucking see out of like a horror game. I just like looked over, and there he was, just looking at me. Or he wasn't, okay, that's not fair. He wasn't looking at me. He had his back turned to me, was looking towards the forest. I assume he was like some kind of like land, not like a landscaper, but he had something to do like in regards to like the land, you know, like the land layout. Should we send Starkey to the... No, I'm not going to the fucking forest. I don't want to meet that man. I don't want to. The Animatrix is the reason why Matrix is a better robot uprising than Terminator. The lore is that they are powered by the sun. They wanted to live in harmony with us. The logical thing we did is kill their ambassador, permanently black out the sun, and brought them to the brink of extinction. What did we expect to happen? Let's put Starkey in the tube. Do not put me in the tube of shame. I've done nothing to be put into the tube of shame. I'm like so fucking... I have other plans tonight, so I don't want to go over. I guess to be fair, like I can just like basically, you know, leave this at like 99% because like I have all of the other DLCs, so we're gonna be back. Oops, there's a horseman in the forest. I mean, to be fair, you find a man in a forest is the entire, like, basically horror conceit of the Slender series of games. Remember Slender, by the way? Remember how that series got completely fucking ruined because they kept writing lore and didn't realize that half of the horror aspects of Slender were because no one knew what was going on? Find my pages, yep. Meanwhile, why did Skynet nuke all humans? Because technology bad. You will live in the shame. You will live with the shame of not finishing the level. I'm okay with that. Listen, I have fucking anxiety about being late. I thought Slender was ruined by the not safe for work fanfics. Well, like, they basically just, like, expanded the lore. Because, like, part of the idea of, like, fear, like, is that, like, there's something you can do about it. Like, the fear reaction is, like, I'm in danger, I need to find out what I can do about this. So, like, the instant you understand a threat, it becomes intrinsically less scary. And then they just kept writing lore about, like, the Slenderman fucks with your memories, and he basically, like, the instant you realize he's after you, you're guaranteed dead. And at that point, like, guaranteed death is as scary as nothing at all, because it's like, oh, well, congratulations, I guess, you know. What am I supposed to do with this? Oh, so I should probably keep an eye on the queue. Let's see. 5, 10... Okay, so I'm closing out the song queue. I will probably continue those tomorrow when I do art. Also, we're working on another orb for tomorrow. I'm gonna be orbing Ilianos. That's gonna be we're gonna our first forb. Orbs you said with a menacing aura. Also, another thing that stopped being scary and kind of just went dumb was Final Destination. I would argue Final Destination... I guess to be fair, I didn't see the original Final Destination. I only saw Final Destination 3 and only like the back half of it. I'm gonna get my points and get orbs soon. Soon you two will be orb. To be fair, you're already orb as a slime, so like... do you want to be cat orb or do you want to be slime orb? Like literally Matrix 4 with all its flaws stayed coherent to the lore of the Matrix and makes sense that there should be a robot civil war. If anyone else made Matrix 4, it would be the same shit, new names. It's not the Republic, it's the First Order. Crap. Orb squared. How about an update this orb? Okay, so that would be cat orbed. Updating the cat orb. Corn. Hey, what's the matter, honey? You haven't touched your corn on the orb. I had a dream Slenderman was pulled into reality, but horrifically it was Tumblr Slenderman. So you had a dream that someone just basically straight up summoned Tumblr Sexy Man Slenderman. Yeah, that sounds like a horror, all right. PNG cat orb. I mean, I can maybe like do a quick version with your mouth open. It would basically just be me like rotating the jaw. It's like that's relatively easy to do with digital art. Tiny mouth. There's so many fucking... I think the thing that's taking so long is there's so many goddamn nooks and crannies. It's like, congratulations, you've modeled the spaceship. Stop modeling the spaceship more.
Italian spaghetti is a long, thin, solid, cylindrical pasta. It is a staple.
Why are we...
food of traditional
Chris, why are you reading the
Italian
Wikipedia article
Like
for
other
spaghetti?
pasta, spaghetti is made of milled wheat, water, and sometimes enriched with vitamins and minerals. Italian spaghetti is typically made from durum wheat semolina.
Gotta clean all the holes.
Pasta is white because refined flour is used, but whole wheat flour.
You mean I like Menderman? I like Menderman is definitely Slenderman, but he has the boy kisser face. That's 100% what I like Menderman is. What's up, Chris?
Can we use the orbifying rate to create an orb to the power of 3000?
I don't think that's wise. I can't imagine that that's going to work out. I'm pretty sure that sends orbs into higher dimensions. Which, like, I ain't trying to fucking figure out what the 17th dimension orb looks like. Actually, how things are going, we might be able to finish this today. Should we send Starkey to Gary, Indiana? No! That's like an actual threat to my life and well-being. Perhaps it looks like an orb. You didn't read the full poll. Listen, reading the full poll gives you a chance. Should we send Starkey to Gary, Indiana with a chainsaw? It doesn't. There's only so much a chainsaw can do when the atmosphere itself is made out of knives. I'm of course joking. Gary, Indiana isn't that bad. Yet. But if Starkey's in Gary, India, there would be no Starkey stream. Yeah, if I would vote for yes is a vote for no more Starkey streams. This is it. This is the last stream I'll ever do if I have to get sent to Gary, Indiana. Oh no, queue is closed. Yep, we closed out the queue because the queue is already longer than the rest of stream. We should is in Gary, Indiana. It's stab or be stabbed. Imagine creepypastas popping. There's a video that's been suggested to me on YouTube that I need to watch. It's a literary analysis of Jeff the Killer, where it's very clearly someone who like actually has like a degree in like literature, because like it's already like based off the thumbnail, like it points out shit like the thing like the how the text of Jeff the Killer, it's, like instead of saying like a bottle of bleach, says a thing of bleach. Quote Jeff the Killer, a thing of bleach. You'll live. I can't believe Starkey died in Gary, Indiana. Listen, if you've been to Gary, Indiana, you would not be surprised. You would 100% believe it, actually. All right, we're about to run our last set of 3-minute ads. We run those every hour to turn off pre-rolls so people don't have to deal with advertisements as soon as they join the stream. So be sure to go grab a snack, go grab some water. We'll be probably raiding out shortly afterwards. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna stick around to finish this today, unfortunately. It'll be good to finish when we play this next, whenever that is, because this is kind of like a one-off I throw whenever I feel like it. Like, if I look at my current list of games on stream and I'm just like, I don't really feel any of this. Just, it's kind of like just like a nice, like, slot-in game for Like, just, like, basically just chatting. Just chat. It's basically, like, this game is just chatting, but, like, without the video. God, I want to see Final Destination Bloodlines again. Is that the one that was just released? Just chatting with extra steps. And this, yeah, honestly, even in the literal sense. In this game, we do a lot of walking around.
Stucky, if you see me here next Friday, it won't be for long, but you see I get paid. Also, Dan Evil Eye, I am going to spend $25 on movie snacks, so a medium soda popcorn combo, I guess.
Yeah, it was good. I'm not a huge fan of horror stuff, at least not stuff that's like not the classical horror stuff. I like existential horror. I really enjoyed The Haunting of Bly Manor, The Haunting of Hill House. That shit slaps. And it hurts. Would you rather meet OG Jeff or horny teen girl fanfic Jeff? Jeff the Killer was just like a kid that lost it. Like that's the entire, like, as per his original lore, that's the only thing Jeff the Killer had going for him. Is he was just a kid who basically went full Joker mode. I can punt a child. I'm living that, whereas I don't want to deal with whatever the fuck's going on with horny fangirl Jeff the Killer. And say a dark alley, I could still punt him. You have to remember, the only things he kills are like people who he catches by surprise and other children. I can punch a child. I'm gonna have to edit that one for accuracy because I actually said I can punt a child. It's very my specific verbiage is important. Oh, well, maybe I can go like a couple minutes over since we are so close. Like, if it's just the cleanup phase, like if we get to 99.9, which I think we are. All right, Starkey, ignore what I did. Should we freeze dry Starkey morph? What's that say? Oh, that's the full. I mean, listen, I'm goo, so that it doesn't really like because if I were like made out of like a liquid goo, it might do something. But like I am technically tiny machines. I guess like you could maybe make. Well, there's not really any like water in there. It might make it might make some like water crystals form, but like. Uncertain. Unclear. More testing must be done. I must be freeze-dried. Chat, it is time. You must place me into the freeze-dryer. Sounds like a fun experiment. Strikemorph, hand me a Borb and a freeze-dry and a soy reel clone. Come on, chat. This is the only chance we'll ever get to freeze dry straight. The new Final Destination movie slaps because unlike the other movies where there were strangers, this one's an entire family, so the cast plays off each other with incredible chemistry. With well-written humor and kills, the premonition is near the top of the list and ties into the other movies nicely. and ends Tony Todd's legacy on the high note. He's relevant to the plot instead of there for exposition. Oh my fucking god. How did I miss this? So I will say, like, the only Final Destination, like, because the entire crux of the Final Destination, like, movies is that they basically avoid getting killed, and then death, like, you know, they get, like, something happens that's supposed to kill them, it doesn't, and then death comes back. That's, like, the idea of the Final Destination movies, right? Yeah, essentially the movie does everything right, the fourth does wrong. Death decides he wants to have fun, so he lets someone know they will die so he can get creative. So is Death like a bespoke character in Final Destination, or is it just like, is it like a force? Because like from what I saw in Final Destination 3, it was just kind of like a nebulous force that like basically comes back to claim those who got lucky and escaped when they weren't supposed to. No, just a force? Okay. I did not realize that there was overarching lore either. This is more like Fate, if anything. Well, the thing is, like, they actually, if memory serves, the rules that I saw set up in, it is really funny, Sordier, that you got... It's funny seeing you, Automata, because you're usually so wholesome. The version I saw was, like, the idea that, like, you can defy death, but doing so basically skips to the next... Like, there's, like, a... It's basically like like, kill in order. I don't know what I said. The phrase, "I'm going to kill you," got caught by Automod. Which, like, are reasonable. But it is funny. Access ramp hinges. I'm assuming it's probably up front. Air brake around here. There we go. Final Destination 2 has 2 people who are confirmed to have survived, I believe. An Unseen Force, that's what's fun about the new one, is that it starts in the 60s, plays on what happens if they survive long enough to have kids, what happens to the kids. That's a horrifying prospect. And that's, you know, it actually, because it does remind me a little bit of, like, how, if you enjoy Final Fantasy, or if you enjoy Final Destination, you might also enjoy, me fucking being Netflix for a moment. There's a very similar through line, in, The Fall of House of Usher that you might enjoy. It's called Final Destination Apocalypse. You know, Final Destination, it's a worldwide scale. Call it fuselage armor. Oh. I really thought that was watching Bloodlines. Because, like, the way there's a point in The Fall of House of Usher where it's basically Death itself is established as a character. And it becomes clear that she is planning on killing all of the characters in a specific order, all in various references to Edgar Allan Poe poems. And one of the things that, like, the idea of it is that, like, basically the sins of the parents are coming back to haunt, like, basically coming back to haunt the children. There we go. But no, like because like I enjoy stuff. I can't remember the name of the director who does, because he did Fall of House of Usher, Haunting of Bly Manor, Haunting of Hill House, and he just does really good work. That like it hurts me personally. That's not fair. It hurts a lot of people. But like the specifically the ending of the Fall of House of the Haunting of Bly Manor actually fucked me up so bad, because it exposed an entirely real thought and like that I've had about like what, like the idea of like, okay, I found love. What happened? Like, you know, suddenly that's a new thing to be scared about. Like I have now someone that I feel so deeply in my life that I would marry them, but they are like me, mortal. So it kind of delves into that like existential fear. Where the fuck is this dirt? Yo, this is fucking nonsense. Looking at this, I see why many artists don't do mecha. Yeah, it's just like there's so much fucking going. It's like so much nooks and cranny too. It's like a huge pain in the ass. I think the saving grace for mecha is that a lot of the time stuff in it can kind of be like copy pasted. Because the idea of it's that, like, it's, you know, it's like mass-produced parts being fit together. Where the fuck is the underside armor? Mech artists are a whole different breed. A League is making another $500 skin. I'm gonna need League players to delete their credit card. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the continued success of League in the current like state of video games, I think only drives more shitty like game monetization. The... Where? Okay, what? Upper vertical stabilizer mounts. I'm so fucking close to finishing this. But I also, like, I'm already over time. And, there's just, like, a lot of odds and ends. I'll go ahead and probably, like, we'll clear this up next time. You close to finishing? Oh, well, we're finishing stream now.